The family of a black teenager shot in the head in Kansas City, Missouri, has hired two well-known civil rights attorneys. Police have not released the name of the young person, but his family and attorneys say he is 16-year-old Ralph Yarl. Police say he was trying to pick up his younger siblings last week when he went to the wrong address. After ringing the doorbell, he was then shot by the owner of the home. The family's lawyers say that owner is a white man. Police would not confirm Yarl's injuries, but his aunt wrote online that the teenager was shot in the head, and while lying on the ground, she says he was shot a second time.
Baby,
we in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here.
Black versus the Board of Education.
'Cause we can't get rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we can't get rid of us now. And you know that we won't ever go forget because we've been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Where are my air horns? The stuff don't stop. Tevin, what? Come on, where you at? Thank you so very much. Welcome to another Monday of Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Miss Laureen, and yes, I am on your screen and not in the studio today because I'm not feeling well, but that don't mean that the party stops. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We welcome you into this space. I know the title says we're going to be talking about foster care, and we will get to that. However, we have to get to the opening video. But before we do that, you know, we always have to go and let you know who's in the building. So come on, Miss Jada, say hey, hey, hey.
Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Jada. I am a homeschooled senior in the Sacramento area, and I look forward to talking about today.
Well, welcome back. Jalen.
Hello, my name is Jalen. I am honorary Louisianian in the California area. And I am also in college, but I'm excited today.
All right. Where's Adrian? Hey, Adrian.
Hello, my name is Adrian, college student in Sacramento. Glad to be here. Got promoted from the office today.
Come on, man.
Studio. You know?
Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to stop from coughing. Where's Anaya?
Hey everyone, my name is Naya and I'm currently a senior in high school. That's it.
Period.
Sam.
And
Wow.
I was gonna say something. I forgot. Well,
Was you about to say like the bean?
no, I oh man. So
Oh Lord. Go ahead.
I'm 12.
You said what now?
I'm 12. I'm from Georgia. I'm Sam. I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm mad.
Oh, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Where's Melissa?
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. I am a junior and I'm in the SoCal area.
Well, welcome you guys, and you guys know we have a special guest in studio with us today, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself before we start talking about the opening video. So go ahead, Miss Lady, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jade. I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm here to talk about foster care.
Awesome. So welcome to Black versus the Board of Education. And I know you guys saw the opening video. My understanding is this incident took place a couple of days ago, if not yesterday. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me. But this young man went to pick up, and young boy, I'm gonna call him a boy, let me not adultify him. He went to pick up his siblings. He went to a street that was similar to the street he was supposed to be at. He goes up, he knocks on the door or rings the doorbell, and without any provocation, he was shot through the door. The owner then comes out and shoots him a second time in the head. What say you? Jada?
That's scary. That's, first of all, that's manslaughter. But second of all, it's scary because it's like I would be so scared. Like, that kind of makes me a little nervous, like being on the wrong street and knocking on the wrong door, because I'm sure that he did not expect to die the minute he knocked on somebody's door. Like, that is super scary. That's frightening.
Melissa?
Yeah, I agree with Jada. It's really scary because it's an honest mistake. Like, we're all humans. Like, we all make mistakes. Why would someone feel the need to do that? And I know he wasn't threatening the person and they felt like they needed to defend themselves. He was going to pick up his siblings. All he did was knock at the door and then was shot not once, but twice after he was on the ground already, clearly again not threatening him, then was shot again.
That was malicious.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Melissa because there's no way that you can justify that. Like everybody has gone to the wrong street at some point. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna come pick up my siblings. But next thing you know, you have somebody shooting at you through the door, and then while you're on the ground getting shot at again. It's crazy. Yeah. Crazy.
Samuel.
It's just so impulsive, so crazy, so I insane. Like, what did he do to you? He rings the doorbell, you shoot him. For what reason? Like, what did he just want? He was black and went on your doorbell. That's the reason. He was like, black people should know you don't ring on my doorbell or you get shot.
It's looking like.
I guess. Because there's absolutely no reason somebody just rings your doorbell and then you come out guns blazing with, what did he shoot him with?
I don't know what he shot him with. I mean, at this point, I don't even care. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? In what world do you shoot through your door? I don't know. I'm at a loss. Adrian?
You know,
you're new.
I'm at, yeah, first time in here. I don't know.
First time.
This is a problem with these standard ground states, in these red states. It gives these white people or anybody an excuse in their minds to do this when you show up to a house. I think America set that precedent when George Zimmerman was acquitted. It set the tone that if you're on my house, doesn't matter the reason, I legally can shoot and legally can kill you.
Talk about it.
Anaya?
Reading about the Instagram post that I sent was very horrific because I think the caption said, like, yeah, he was shot once, and then it said he was shot again in the head, left out to bleed and die. So it's like the guy knew what he was doing. He came to kill him. It's like you get killed for a mistake. Like, no question, like, shoot first, ask questions later. That's how it was to me.
The dangerous part about that is it could have been anyone. Like, it could have been anybody who was unlucky to knock on their door. Yep. Like, that's scary. Like, there should be no excuse. There should be like, oh, I thought it was so and so. It doesn't matter. Like, what are we doing?
And I don't think they know because the issue that I have is that they say they arrested this guy, right? They let him give a statement and they released him. He was then able to change out the glass door that he shattered shooting the person. And he was out there sweeping up evidence. And I'm trying to figure out, in what world do we allow criminals to come in, say what they did, and go home and like nothing happened? And I understand this dude was 84 years old or 83, 84 years old. They're trying to say that he has PTSD from a war.
Oh, Lord.
Then he shouldn't have a gun. Why does he have a gun?
Talk
about that.
Why does he have a gun? We know that soldiers suffer from PTSD, so why do they have access to armed weapons? What's going on?
Sammy looks like he wants to jump in.
That's my question. Why do people, soldiers specifically with PTSD, have guns? Or like, why do they have weapons at their disposal? Like, you know, they're like quick on the trigger because they're in this war mindset at all times, especially with PTSD. You're in this kind of like, you can snap back at any time. Why can you register with a weapon?
And
that makes no sense.
And to me, it doesn't matter what his illness is. If he has PTSD, everybody should be held accountable. And you committed murder. Who gets away with murder?
Well, no. He ain't dead. Thank God this young man survived. This young boy survived.
Yeah.
He has been released from the hospital. He is at home recovering. So he is not dead. And thank God that he's not. However, the charges that they put on him were first-degree assault and armed criminal action. What happened to attempted murder?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
Why the softness on the charges?
that's,
You literally saw him again and shot him in his head and left him
Yeah.
out to bleed.
yeah, that's like you can't
That was
justify.
And you were allowed to clean up the evidence
Yeah, so
Like, who
where's
cleans up a crime scene? What's going on?
that should be an additional.
because they didn't treat it as a crime scene. Somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
That got to be an
100%.
That has to be an additional charge just for that too.
Right. Because tampering with
is.
evidence.
Tampering with evidence,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tampering with evidence, and that excuse of PTSD is completely invalidating his experience. Do you know the post-traumatic stress disorder that he will have from being shot in the head not once but twice?
For knocking
And
on the
the
door.
PTSD and the trauma that we have just from existing as Black people every single day. And I was reading further, he had to get up and run to not one, not two, but 3 different people's houses to get
Because
help.
they wouldn't
before
open the
anyone-
door.
But no one would help him. 3 different people as he's bleeding out from being shot in the head twice. What are their consequences for not helping him? Because that's completely invalidating his experience as not just this, but existing in America as a Black person every single day.
I wanted
I
to
agree.
jump in and go back to the PTSD thing. From my understanding, I would say maybe soldiers would have PTSD from loud noises. Now, a knock at the door like this, that's loud enough to hear. I'm sure he wasn't banging on the door to trigger
I think
that.
he rang the doorbell. So let's be clear. I
Okay.
believe he rang the doorbell.
Then you should be used to the sound of your doorbell. And if you have PTSD, what help are you getting from that? That's your responsibility to take care of yourself. In my opinion.
It's just insane. And, we keep talking about, children being held accountable. All the time I hear these schools, they say, oh, well, we did this because the child needs to be held accountable. But I'm so sick of these adults not being held accountable.
Right.
And they always have the complexion for protection. Let's keep it a buck.
And then they always get the mental health aspect. They always, oh, he's PTSD. Oh, he's a former veteran, so he's going through a lot. He went through. He survived the World War, so he's one of them. So, but how do you feel about the kid who has PTSD knocking on people's doors now? Right. He doesn't know.
Or ringing the doorbell. Y'all stop saying he was knocking.
Well, let's say either or. Let's just say either going up to somebody's door. You don't know if this person is going to shoot you for being Black.
Right.
And that's that's the thing that I believe your teachers, administrators, people in positions of power don't understand. They don't understand that just by virtue of your skin color, you are already perceived or assumed to be a threat or disposable. And it's infuriating. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, how many times have y'all ordered, say something like DoorDash?
Every day.
And somebody comes to your door. Has there ever been a time in your mind that you thought, you know what? I'm going to open this door and shoot. Why not just ignore it?
I got a ring.
If you're not expecting anybody, why not just ignore it?
Right.
Yep.
Don't they also
It's
have
insane.
people?
Right.
Can't you look through the little...
I got a ring.
And you say
we got
door.
A glass door. So you saw.
Like you have a glass door and you see that there's somebody that you're not expecting that just rung your doorbell and your first instinct is to shoot.
Right.
It's insane. I mean, if I had a glass door, first of all, I have a problem with people being able to see me and I don't know who they are. So I'm going to keep my door closed and I'm going to ask you some questions through my door. If I'm not expecting you, or I'm going to wait till you go away because I'm not expecting you. I have never thought to go in my house, get a firearm and just shoot. I've never thought about that. And he needs to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Miss J, did you want to weigh in before we do a hard transition?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So listen, y'all, a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to attend the Foster Youth Education Summit down in Orange County. And it became increasingly clear to me that we are doing a disservice to our young people that we are ripping from their homes and putting with strangers in other places. Now, I've had my own experience with foster care in terms of having a child removed from my home. I am not a big fan, to be perfectly honest, because I think that, again, what we are seeing is people who never took care of their own children during slavery coming in and trying to tell other people how to parent. And I have a problem with that. And so today, our guest, we're going to talk about the real about foster care. Miss Jade reached out to us through Instagram, and she said that she wanted to come in because she wanted to be an advocate for foster youth. And my understanding is that you went through the foster care system yourself. So can you first, let's take us back. What happened that you ended up being a person or a child taken from your family and put into this system?
So like how it all started.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
so they were already was in like the family business when my grandma got sick, and then my mom and my dad wasn't like really stable, and so like, and they always went to jail a lot. So like they kind of knew like they had a kid, and then so that's how foster care came in. And then when my mom and no, when my grandma got very very sick, she took me to her sister to for her to raise me, and then from then on, like they came in deeper because like they didn't know like she was bringing me to her to like for her to take care of me. And then so when that happened, my mom and my dad was around, and foster care came in deeper when my auntie was allowing them to be around me. And so when my auntie was going to like out of town, she didn't confirm to them. Like you have to do calls and stuff for me to even like be around other family members with the CPS. And so she didn't do that with my grandma on my dad's side. And so I got taken from my grandma when I went over her house for a while. And then they knew like when my auntie already went out of town, they told her like you weren't supposed to do that. And so like that's how they took me from there, snatched me out her arms. And I was 11 years old when foster care came in, but they came in when I was like younger than that, but they came and grabbed me at 11. And I was screaming and
Wait,
crying.
time out, time out, time out, time out. They removed you from your grandparent. They removed you from your grandparent
Yes.
because they didn't give permission for you to be around your grandparent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the thing that stuck out to me is as you started to tell your story and you flashed back to that time when you were 11, I heard your voice do something different. So you remember it like it was yesterday. So tell us more about that.
Like how I got snatched from them. So like they just ripped me out her arms when I was crying and like holding on to her. And then so like and it was like a lot of policemen, like, like all in her house, and like everybody was trying to stop them, like, you can't do this. Like everybody was just screaming and crying. And then because they already heard a lot of stories about them, like everybody in my family. So like they were already like panicking when they came. And so like they snatched me, put me like literally came and picked me up and put me in a police car in the back. I'm screaming and crying, looking outside, like, the back window.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at them, like my family, like screaming and crying. And then they put me to like the receiving home. I don't know which one it was, but because it was like so long ago, but it was in Sac. And then but I didn't get to sleep there or nothing. But like I know how everything was because all the kids was just telling me in the room, like, this, if you stay here, this is how like everything about like how it's gonna happen. But then like I don't know, God sent above, like, gave me like a good foster mom, and she's very old, and she took me right away, like when I like hit the receiving place.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I didn't stay there at all that long, so I didn't get to experience that, like the receiving homes, how it is. So I got taken and I went into like a nice home with her, and yeah, and that part worked out good. So like I was with her till I was 11 to 18, so like I aged out with her, and she treated me very well. And she still like to this day, like she still comes like to family stuff that I have because my auntie kept in touch with her, and like they're best friends, like, so yeah. But like it was so hard with visitations, and then I had to go to camps like with all sorts of like foster kids, and it was their stories had me like taken. And then I went to the school, and it was so many foster kids there too. Their story took me out of breath. Like I was
So before you keep going, Jada, you pulled some statistics for us. So give us kind of like the landscape of what we're talking about.
So I got this information off of kidsdata.org. The total amount of children in California is 59,172. For African Americans or Black kids, it's 12,866. In total in California, the Hispanic and Latino community have that top number. But in Sacramento, there's the total children in Sacramento that are in foster care is 2,359. African American and Black children are at the top, 854.
Mm,
But the thing that's concerning me about, so I went online and I was searching all through looking for statistics of the foster rates in 2023. There was nothing past 2018, and I think that's a problem. And they need to update that immediately, because there should be no reason why I go online and you're still giving me statistics of back when I was in 8th grade. I'm about to graduate high school. That needs to be fixed immediately.
So, Jade, you said that when you went to the receiving home, there were a bunch of kids. Can you give me kind of a number of how many kids you think were in there at that particular time?
So when I went to the receiving home, it was babies, like little babies coming in at the same time I'm coming in. So some was like freshly new, and then there was kids like around, like when I was 11, it was like 15, like like 15-year-olds. So all together plus the babies, I seen like about 11 people, like 11, all together, like people. And
was it a big room? Was it a small room? Like, tell me, as you're looking around, what are you seeing?
Okay, so the room, so when you walk in, it's like a visitation, like living room. And then I usually had mine there because I had to come there too, like just to visit. So it was that. And then and then you turn a little bit and it's like where you check in, like you have to do a check-in, like the family members have to check in with them. And then it's a door open and you could walk through, and then it's so big, it's like where the kids sleep, or it's couches, it's like a little bit of playrooms, and then there's like little like rooms like this too, like this room is like 3 of them, and it's like visitations too, and then there's another door in the back. There's like toy room and another type of visitation room too. Then like very in the back where you could walk out the door, that's where all the rooms and sections are for like kids who don't have a home yet to sleep in.
Was it like a dorm-like style, or you said rooms to sleep in? Was it bunk beds? Was it single beds? Was it pallets on the floor? Like, what are we talking about?
So I didn't get to go in those rooms because I already got
you didn't
picked.
get to go.
Yeah, so I already got picked. So I didn't. It was their privacy, but like, they told me it was like bunk beds and like you said, pallets and stuff on the floor, but it wasn't like no regular bed. It was like bunk beds, and so yeah, and it was kind of like a dorm sort of, but it was like kind of like dorms, and then but the office was up front, and then in the back, like you go through another door, it was like dorms.
So you said you didn't have to stay there very long. At any point in time, the people who took you away, did they seem caring, compassionate, or
no?
Talk to me.
So the ones who took me away, they kind of didn't really like they didn't really care. Like they were just telling me like, oh, you guys knew you guys weren't supposed to go with your grandma, and I'm like young, so I'm like, what? But I'm just screaming and crying, not really like hearing her out. And it was a lady, but the lady who put me in the car, it was the lady, but the dudes is the one that snatched me away. And so like she was just talking about like, yeah, this and that, and you're gonna be okay. And when you're gonna be in a nice home now, and just some other stuff. And I'm just like yelling at her, like, I want to go back, because I'm young. And then so she wasn't really like, like not really careless, like how I was feeling. She didn't say like, you're gonna be okay, it's okay. No, she was more quiet and more like said how she felt about like the family, I guess. So like she was not helpful at all.
I mean, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm kind of laughing in a sense because they inflict trauma on you and they say you're going to be okay. Like, how do they know? How do they know you're going to be okay?
They don't.
Yeah, especially just hearing her say you're gonna be at a nice home. Like, how do you know that somebody that has a nice home is gonna be the one that's gonna pick you?
Yes.
Right.
Or is the situation that you're going to gonna be better than the one that you are currently in?
But
Like, how
they
do you
have
know that?
Assuming.
it's like a van that takes you from a receiving home. It's like I had a like not being racist or anything, but like since we're all black, it was like an Indian dude. It was like at night, and I was so scared of him too. It was like in a van, and he was like a little acting weird, like on some like asking too many weird questions, like vibe, and like they place you in any type of home, like you. And like I was spooked of my foster mom because like I was so scared of everything, and then I didn't know what to do. Like I was trying to run back to the door. And I'm screaming and crying. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do because I don't know him. I don't know her. And he was a little weird. And it's the fact that they drive around in vans at night to place you in a home.
Yeah,
What scared me the most.
Sketchy. Kids riding around in a van at nighttime with strangers. Yes.
Like, can I just wait until the morning to go to her? Like, I was that scared.
I have a statistic to state. According
Yeah.
to CPTSDfoundation.org, 30% of youth in foster care will experience post-traumatic stress disorder, twice the rate of U.S. veterans. So we're talking about veterans. That's twice the rate that foster kids are experiencing PTSD. That's a astronomically higher rate. How does that happen? That shows the ineffectiveness and kind of the mistreatment that foster kids face in these homes. Like they get stripped away from decent homes or good situations, and they get put in worse situations where they can get abused sexually or physically or emotionally.
Yeah.
And then we see these stories of these kids being killed in their biological parents' home and CPS doing nothing. So we're taking kids out of decent homes and putting them into foster care, and then we're not taking kids out of their biological parents where they're dangerous, where they're in danger, where they could be killed, and we're just leaving them there. And then they do get killed. So, or abused. Like, it's just so confusing how CPS wants to pick and choose when they want to take a kid out of the home and leave a kid in.
Talk about
Situations just aren't good. I mean, both options. It's just
talk about
I hear you, Sam.
because it's inhumane. Like to snatch a kid. Like my thing is, how do you snatch a kid from their parent or their grandparent or their relative?
I don't know. Why don't you ask your ancestors?
Jeez.
She's not lying. This is just legal kidnapping. Yeah. I'm not gonna hold you. This is just legal kidnapping.
It's the continuation of that. Yep. Go ahead, Jada.
No, it was just going into the home, stripping the kid, like blocking the parents from getting to their kid. Meanwhile, you're trying to gather the kid together. Come on, grab your stuff. Let's go. Let's go. The kid's like, where am I going? You're not telling the kid where they're going. You're not telling the parent where they're going. You're just going.
That's exactly. Yeah. And they did it.
Yep. And then gonna tell you, you're gonna be okay. How do you know? Where you can't even tell me where I'm going. You can't give me no details. Like, but I'm supposed to just believe you. I'm gonna be okay. I've never met you in my life, but I'm gonna be okay, stranger. Okay. So yeah.
I wanted to ask Jade a question. So you were saying you were in the van at night. Were you just dropped off at your foster mom's house and they just left you there? Like, was it any talking? Like, hey, this is so and so, this is so and so, or was it just here's your new home? You're not leaving here.
So when they dropped me off, so they dropped me off and they walked me in, and then she came out, she introduced me, like we introduced each other, but I was like, rage. So she really introduced herself. And then I don't even think he knew her. So like he didn't say nothing. And when the only time he said something when I was trying to leave, he's like, where are you gonna go? And then he said, this is your new home. And then he just like, and then I don't know what they said after. And when I walked in the room, when she showed me the room that I was going to be sleeping in. And then all I know is that he just left. So, yeah.
Where are you going to go? It's crazy.
Yeah. So creepy. Jay, can I ask you a question? Yeah. It may be a little personal. So if you don't want to answer, feel free to say that. But growing up in the foster home, did you feel any resentment towards your biological parents or your grandparents, or were you understanding of their situation?
I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I just felt rage towards everyone. So, like, I don't know. I just felt like, like I wasn't loved that much, I don't know how I could feel. I just was just mad at everybody. I'm not gonna lie, I stopped having so much rage towards everybody at the age of like when I literally got out of foster care, like at 18 years old. So I don't know how to feel about that one, but it's just a lot.
Where did your rage come from? Like when you say you were enraged, what does that mean? Like make it plain for the people who are listening who have never been through what you went through. What exactly are you saying when you said I was enraged? What does
Like
that mean?
I was so angry about like mostly like how like why like mad at my parents. Like this wouldn't happen if you were being parents. Like they would have been in our business. And then like that's the only part that really made me more mad. And then like how foster care just took me. And then like it was just stuff like that. And the crazy part is like scared me the most is when me and my foster mom used to argue because I used to be like a little like, like you're a teenager, so you just everywhere.
Yeah.
And like they can handle you, especially if you have an older person.
Yeah.
So like she always was like, "Oh, you're gonna go to another home," and I used to scream and cry like, "No, I know what they do." Because at camps they used to tell me like they lock the refrigerator chains up at night when the kids were so hungry, got raped by their parent, like the foster parents, and it was so much other things. And like I used to just scream and cry, and it was crazy because my my casa worker, she took me to a Girl Scout camp, and that's where I was finding out all this information from the foster kids there. It didn't even feel like a Girl Scout camp. It felt like I'm just meeting like new foster kids and we all just at a camp. So it didn't feel like no Girl Scout. We didn't do nothing Girl Scout-y.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's interesting so she would say herself like she was gonna like give you back to the foster system if you like didn't fix your behavior or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's not fair at all, and that's extremely traumatizing. On her part as a foster parent, I don't think that you should be threatening kids to put them back in the situation that they didn't want to be in the first place. Like what kind of parent would do that? I mean, yeah, but then the people who want to take you and place you in new homes can say, "Oh, this is a good home." You like how do you? I highly believe that they do not know everything that goes on within a foster home.
No, they don't.
To give somebody the benefit of the doubt that you're going to be okay or be better than you were before.
Yes.
So
How often did they check up on you in your foster home?
For me, it felt like okay, so say like to this month they're gonna check up on me like today, and then next week and one more day, and then then they'll stop, and then next month they'll kind of do the same. And so like that's how it was. But like the more you get older, they check up on you once a month.
Oh, so the communication between you and the foster people get less and less.
Yes. So yeah, in courts you don't gotta go to that much hearings. Only when you're kind of in foster care you kind of have to, but you don't have to. Sometimes like the more you get older, you could choose to if you want to go to court to hear the hearings. But I always chose like no.
And could somebody define for the people who don't know what a hearing is, what a hearing is? Because I would like a further explanation of it.
So like where you want to like, okay, so you go to court and they tell you about like the updates. Well, they really telling like your lawyers or like whoever your attorney is, they're really telling them like your update that's going on in foster care, like in your home.
Okay.
So they like you could come to see like if you're hearing like you just knowing like the update about school, about stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So like, and I didn't want to go because like I really didn't care for that. Unless you're telling me I'm coming back to my family, yeah, I'm gonna come. But other than that, no.
Yeah, feel that.
So were you technically a ward of the court? Is that what it was?
I don't really know. Like to go to the hearings like that or like
because they were giving an update of your status. So they weren't communicating with your biological family. They were communicating against to everybody else within your team of care. So your social worker, your attorney, the judge, the caseworker, whoever is. So I'm assuming those are who were all in the ombudsman, whoever was in there for you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that sounds like they may have placed you as a ward, like they were in charge of your care at that point. So did they terminate your parents' parental rights?
To see me like visitations and like not like have
like custody wise, did they ever terminate your parental rights, your parents' parental rights?
Well, no, not really. They were telling them, like, actually they did tell my parents, like, if they get their stuff together, they can have me again. But it was so crazy because they were saying that when I'm around my parents, they would tell them that, like, during the visitations. But then, like, when I'm away, they'll tell me, like, your parents not doing good, like, just making it up. Like, say we get in the car right now from the visits. Oh, I don't know if you're gonna go back to them, just making it up.
So being two-faced.
Yeah. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong
false
with y'all?
hope and all that.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
And then when you first get in foster care, you can't have no contact with your family. You can't do no calls unless they tell you when you could do that.
Yeah.
Like right when you get in there, you can't tell them like you're okay, like, because they want to know if you're okay, your family. You cannot do that. You have to wait, like, say, like, they told me in 2 weeks I could talk to them.
That's ridiculous.
So like I had to wait. I was crying so hard, like I can't see it, I can't talk to them, I can't do nothing. It was crazy.
This really sounds like kidnapping. Like, are you kidding me? How do you not see this? Like, you can't talk to these people. You're not allowed to see these people. You're not allowed to get out in contact. Like, locking the fridge. Are you kidding me?
And you can't have no phone.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like when somebody takes a hostage. That's what it sounds like.
I wanted to ask Jade about how your experience in the foster care shapes your view of the world right as of now. Like, as you're an adult, as an ex foster care child, how does that shape your worldview?
I don't know. I look a little bit at life differently. Like I don't know, like I just look at life differently. I can't explain it. It just makes me feel like angry. Like I just don't know. I just always use that word. Like when people ask me that, I just usually say just look at it differently and angry. Like just I don't know.
Is there anything
It's just
specific?
a feeling. Like okay, so like when I see parents like I don't know, like when I see, okay, so say like you have cousins, right? And then your cousins and their parents is getting at it, and like in a bad way, or like if their parents is not doing the right thing right now, you look at it in a way like you need to be there right now because you don't know what could happen at any moment. Then I look at like policemen's, like they're not cool to me no more because like how y'all just did that.
I feel you.
And I just look at so much stuff way differently. And then like family, I just look at them like I have hate towards them, but it's not hate, but it's like hate, So yeah.
No.
To me, it kind of sounds like you're on high alert all the time.
Yeah.
Like your senses are up a notch because of what you've been through.
Yeah, because other people I know have resentment towards the police based on what they see out in the real world, but you had to have firsthand experience on why I personally don't like them. And I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry.
It's
had to go
okay,
through
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
And so I'm just because I hear you keep saying you're angry. Is there anything that anybody can do to kind of help take that anger away at this point? Because it sounds like you were failed, right? And there were a lot of adults who didn't make the best decisions. And so that has impacted you as a young lady. So tell me, is there anything people can do right now to kind of help that anger soothe in a way?
Well, I just want people to help out, the kids more in the foster homes because they're not getting help as they needed. Like that's the only thing that can make me more happy, like fix my attitude up, like with the anger I have, just help foster, because I have people that has me like texts me in their DMs my DMs telling me like they want me to be their voice. Cause like I went to school with some people who texted me that I had work with some people who told me their stuff and then camp too. And I just felt like I don't know what could help me out, but just to help them out. Yeah, so like that's all.
And I want to applaud you for doing that today because you are their voice, and that's an amazing thing. And I'm sure that they're probably watching you or will watch you and be like super proud of you for taking that initiative to be the voice for the voiceless. So I applaud you for that.
Yes, and I didn't eat at all at home. Like I never wanted to eat. Like I cried in bed for months, like not wanting to eat. I was like 120. Like I weigh 120. I probably went up a little bit when I was in there because like my mom, my dad, like my dad was always in and out of jail. Then my mom, she was always in and out of jail. So it was like, and she didn't have nowhere to go with us. So it was just so much drama with her and my family. So like everywhere she went, I went. If she was like homeless a little bit, I was with her doing that. And so like that's mostly why my weight went down too because of that. And I was more like, everybody says like I'm like my mom's like her parent, more than her being my parent. So like if I was hungry and like say like I have food or something in my hand, I'll give it to my mom. Like that's how I always looked at it. And so like I just been like it seemed like ever since my grandma died, we just had each other. That's always been in our mind. Knowing we have a big family, we usually always see and loves us death. It's just always been in our mind like we have each other now. Even though we had my dad, but my dad was always locked up. Like right now locked up. So like it's just so much. And he was just on the news, like the president was just talking about him. Like it was so much crazy. And I just couldn't eat or nothing. I was just crying every day. They didn't help me at all when things they were saying. And like they're just like not okay. And then I asked my social worker recently before because she said this might be our last time seeing each other since I'm gonna be aged out at 21 next month. She was saying that I asked her, I said, is it true that when someone's in a foster home getting like touched on or not getting help that they need, do you guys help right away or you guys take your guys' time while they like still suffering? She said, unfortunately, they have to take their time so they could build up a case on that. And I said, that's not helping. And she said, see, that's why you need to speak up and help out. But I'm just like, you guys, like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Right. Simple.
It sounds like they are failure to protect. That's what they like to use against parents. It sounds like the workers have a failure to protect the young people that are in their charge, really, is what it sounds like. And I'm actually very, first, I'm very proud of you for coming forward because that takes a lot to come here and be amongst people who don't know your story and to share so openly. But the other thing I want to say to you is my heart actually really breaks for you because you have been failed on so many levels. And I can see and I hear the pain when you're recounting how you were ripped from your grandmother. And again, that makes me think back to the things that they've been doing to Black people for so very long. And the problem is normally what they want to see happen is that your family can come up with the resources or the money so that they can fight them. If you don't have the resources or the money to fight them, they will just continue to kind of drag you along in the system. And so, is there anything that we at BYLP can do to support you? Because you keep mentioning that you're going to age out. Aging out to me doesn't mean anything except for somebody else takes over, being that listening ear for you. So, is there something that we can do to support you or to rally around you?
Well, I usually just tell people like when they say that, just help out like the others that really,
No,
really
no,
need
no.
support.
I want to help you because I know you have this thing where you like I'm good, I done aged out, I'm fine. Go help the other ones. I'm not talking about them right now. What I'm talking about is you specifically. I want you to look into yourself and figure out what you need support with because we can talk about helping everybody else, but if you're not good to be that voice that they expect you to be, then it's going to be problematic. So start thinking about how people, because people are going to hear this podcast, people will probably reach out and say, okay, well, how can we support her? And so I'm asking you for those people and myself, because I'm nosy, I'm asking you, how can we support you? What type of safety nets can we put into place with you? You have a whole bunch of young people right here who will be listening ears for you. We can go grab food. Like, tell me what we can do to support you, baby girl. That's what I'm talking about. See, look, I want to help you too. Look at that. Come on. So talk to us.
I don't know. I'm not saying like I'm good, but I have everything. Like I have a home. Like I have my own house, and yeah, and I'm gonna start college soon in June, and I model and I do horseback riding. So and I have like a great boyfriend that like is there for me, and so we build up together, and he's gonna be end up going pro next month. So like with boxing. So yeah, so we just have everything. That's why I really don't know what to say. That's why I always say like I'm just aging out because and plus like aging out means like for certain people who doesn't know like I'm just gonna be 21 and then when you turn 21 you're just done. But I also am gonna be going to extended foster home. I mean not foster home, foster care like extended program. And it helps out to you're 24. Like they help you out with rent, and I was doing that with foster care. They were giving me like half of the rent part, and so I didn't really need it that much because I already work. Like not right now, but like I was, and then I stopped to find a better job that's closer to home because I just moved to like Green Haven, even closer, and so yeah, I don't need nothing.
Well, what I will say to that is a lot of times we don't know how people can help us. Think of us as your extended family, right? Not saying that you will always come to us when you need something, but sometimes you just want to hang out. Sometimes you just want maybe a sister figure, a brother figure, a mama figure, I don't know, auntie figure. We got aunties all up and through that office. Maybe you need that type of support. I don't know, and I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds to me that the more support you have rallying around you, you may have everything that you think you need right now, but the more support rallying around you will help to amplify that voice that you're talking about, will give you the confidence to really be out here, really slanging them things on these people when they start trying to talk about something that they've never been through. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we can fix everything or we're magicians or anything like that. I'm saying sometimes you just need to know somebody has your back too. And so I want you to keep that in mind. But Melissa, you've been awful quiet, baby girl. I know what you said to me in the text message, and I'll let you share.
I am so upset. And my heart, like Miss Lorraine said, is breaking for you. And I have not had personal experience with foster care, but Miss Lorraine, you know this, when we got Kane, he was in danger of going into foster care. So in my head, I'm like thinking all of these things could have happened to him. And it makes me really upset. And even hearing your experiences, how the police came and, like you said, physically, as an 11-year-old girl, grown men came and snatched you from the comfort of your grandmother's arms. Like that is instilling a fear of law enforcement. It's instilling a fear of men and grown men in general. It's very frustrating. But I'm so happy that you felt comfortable enough with BYLP and with us to come and talk about your experience, because that's not easy. And I'm sitting here about to cry, and I didn't go through any of this. And so I thank you so much for sharing your experience, because a lot of people can't do that, and that's okay. But there are people that can do that. So thank you for being willing to come and talk to us about this.
Yeah. Yes.
I have another
Sam?
statistic.
Another statistic. Go ahead, Sam.
According to the Child Welfare Information Gateway.gov, up to 80% of children in foster care have significant mental health issues, compared with approximately 18 to 22% of the general population. And talk about you, Jade. You got the best case scenario. You got a good foster home, a stable foster home, until you were 18 and you aged out of the foster care system, like the core foster care system. But you still have long-term trauma, even with best case scenario. So think about worst case scenario of children who are in the foster care system. It's just mind-blowing how the foster care system completely disenfranchises these children that they put in these situations. They put them through this mental anguish and this physical anguish that could completely derail the trajectory of their lives.
You're throwing in big words. I like it.
Yeah. And to this day now, my mom and my dad, they still argue over like how it all happened, because they were both in jail when it all happened. So like to this day, they still argue about like how did this all happen, like all sorts of stuff about it, and it's just so crazy.
I have to ask, and feel free to not answer if you're feeling uncomfortable.
It's
anyway,
okay.
But how, like, after this foster care situation, how is it now being a young adult? How's the relationship with your parents right now?
So at 18, my dad, when he got out of jail when I literally turned 18, and so he gave me my first apartment, and so like it was like I don't know, so he said sorry and all that, but we're okay with our bond. But I think like I feel like I still have like, you know, madness towards him because I still throw out a lot of attitude towards him.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do apologize. I call back on the phone, like, I'm so sorry, you know. And then me and my mom, I don't know, like I can never see hate towards her because it's like it was just so much with me and her. Like it's like we both grew up together with you know, before foster care. So she always tried her hardest. So I don't know, but I still feel a little bit madness towards her, but not all the way because she says I'm sorry in so many ways. But you know, yeah. And so I just don't know. I just
Feel that.
wing it.
Wing it. I feel that.
I had another question. So you said when you were taken, they just came into your house and took you. Was your grandma given warnings like, hey, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that? Or was it just like one and done? Like one mistake and you're taken?
Yeah. One mistake and you're taken.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I get that 100%. Listening to you talk about your experience, it's kind of like bringing me back a little. I had a incident. That's why I for a minute sorry. So I was in what was called. I was in I guess like second, third grade. It's known in the Black community if you get in trouble, you get a whooping. But in CPS, it's seen as abuse.
Yes.
So for a minute, I didn't really like talking to any of my teachers because talking to my friends, my teacher eavesdropped and heard, you know, I got in trouble, I got a whooping. They don't give you a warning. And I think that listening to you talk about how you got no warning as a kid, like I get that 100%. And I feel like that it was so unfair to you and it was super traumatizing for you. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that because listening to it, that it just brought me back. So, yeah.
It's a lot of, it's like the stuff I said now today, like I talked about, it was like, it wasn't even half of it. It was deeper, like so much stuff going on.
I bet.
What made you want to talk, like feel comfortable telling your story? Because there's a lot of people who go through this, but they usually have a moment where they're just like, you know what? I feel like I need to talk about this to the public.
Yeah.
Well, so I never told my story. So I felt like I started reaching out to a little bit of like news people that I wanted to hear certain parts of my story. Some news people that were close to me, like not close, but like knew me through people. And I told them some stuff and then like they never did nothing about it. And so like I was just thinking like I want to just spread the word and help out and let people feel free to tell their part of their story, to let others be heard, you know, hear it more, and to be okay to tell, you know, just to help out or just say how it's going or just, you know. And so like that made me just think like I'm just ready. Because usually when I try to tell my story, I cry a lot. I don't like talking about it. So more I got older, I was like, I'm okay to just say it.
And honestly, you talking about it puts a lot of courage in other people who may have gone through the same thing to want to talk about it as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I know you kind of glossed over it, Jada, but CPS did find an occasion to come through my home, and they took Jada out. I was detained or kind of surrounded by police officers in my kitchen, and they took her out of the front door. I did not know who they were. They did not leave any contact information, and there was a lot. Now, I truly believe had I not worked at the state capitol, it would not have been rectified in the way that it was, as expeditiously as it was. The other thing, I did not cooperate with what they wanted. They told me that we needed to pay for counseling. I said, we're going to go through my private insurance. They did not like that. They wanted us to sign documents. I told her, Dad, you better sign Daffy Duck. You better not put your name on nothing. And it was a lot of these little things where you have people, and it was actually a Black administrator at Roy Herberger Elementary that decided to call and get CPS involved. They strip searched my child at school. Nobody said anything. Then they removed her from our home. My husband was charged with failure to protect. So hearing all these social workers who do not protect these children, they all should be charged as well. I ended up on a CACI list. Do you guys know what a CACI list is?
Nope.
It is the Child Abuse Central Index. I was going to have to register as a child abuser because of this situation with Jada. Now, that is not what happened, and all of that was rectified, but it was traumatizing nonetheless. And so I am infuriated anytime I hear a situation involving CPS and removing our babies from our home for no just cause. Absolutely ridiculous. And had I not, again, worked at the state capitol and had access to people in positions of power, I don't believe that it would have turned out to where it's not anywhere on our record. It's not anywhere anywhere. I'm not on the khaki list anymore. But I think about all the other parents who don't have access to the things that I had access to. I think about those parents who don't have the resources that my family has, right? And so to hear this stuff and to see it playing out in conjunction with school campuses, it really pisses me off. I have to be perfectly honest with you guys. And Jayde, I thank you for coming and sharing your story, but something has to be done about the fact that we're failing so many children when we're ripping them from their homes, telling them we're going to give you a new life, and then discarding them like they're trash.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still mad at that Black administrator. I don't know if I've ever told her that, but I hope that her or her husband sees this, because he's actually involved with another school district currently. I hope they see this, and I hope she knows that I remember everything they took my kid through. And I remember telling them at that school, you call me up here again, my name is going to be on that moniker. And I've been held ever since. They should have left me alone. That's how I became an advocate, guys. That's how I began to go into schools, because they messed with the wrong person. They need to learn to leave well enough alone. And this happened in Elk Grove Unified School District.
Surprise.
So I say all that to say there is always a catalyst that makes you step into a position where you can help other people. And Jayde, I'm offering that support to you, because your voice is going to be valuable in this fight to change things for these young people coming behind you. I'm so excited that this Thursday I get to actually attend the Casa Gala in Los Angeles. So Melissa, I'm gonna be out there for all of 24 hours or less. So I'll be at the Casa Gala meeting up with Miss Charity as I look at the work that she's doing as the CEO of Casa LA. And we're going to see how we can continue to really speak into the lives of our young people, because this is absolutely, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And my heart hurts, constantly hurts when I hear stories like this. And I think of Kane, Melissa, and his sweet little self. And I think of all the other foster children who are in the system that I saw crying at the conference we went to, and them saying that they just want to go home. But home is changed now, right? They just want to go home though. And so what do y'all say about that? Like, what would you say?
I think the thing that sticks out to me is when you said that you asked the social worker if they're in a place where they're getting abused, is it a slow process or is it a fast process? And they said it's a slow process. I think that just sticks out to me just because, like, you want to take somebody out for
quickly,
but if they're doing something, if the foster parents that you said are going to give that person a better life is doing something that we can actually see, you're going to take your time and investigate.
Right. You can take somebody out their home super fast, no communication. But when it comes to stuff like this within foster homes, it's we gotta dissect, we gotta investigate. There has to be this step process.
So you get the investigation for the foster parents, but the one mistaken done for the biological parents is just ridiculous to me.
I think it's just like, it's so crazy how foster parents are like treated with this grace. Like they're at this holy grail where they get all this room to make mistakes, quote unquote. They're a really, really big offenses: abuse, rape. It doesn't matter. Child abuse, starvation, don't matter. What do we have to do with it? We took them out of the home. Our job is done. Foster are not giving back. Like, are they not giving background checks? These are the supposed lives of these children, and we're putting them back, and we're putting them in a threat, in a home where they can be abused and manipulated and traumatized for life. What is this? What?
Yeah. Who is that? Who is that? Anaya?
It was.
Yeah, I was trying to say. What was really interesting is how Jade, you had said that when you asked the worker, is it a slow process? So they know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing is wrong. My question is, why haven't y'all fixed it? If you know you're doing something and you know you're doing is wrong, you know you're not right for what you're doing, why are you still doing it? Why are you still working for the people? Like,
Policies always change. It's if they want them to change.
Yeah.
Miss Jade, we're gonna give you the last word, honey.
Oh, I was just gonna say that they also, like, if you come as like a pack like siblings, they split you up into different homes, which I never liked. Like, that's what one girl at my school was telling me, like, she can't find her brother and sister because they're all split up, and she started crying, and I was just staring like, what the
That's
heck?
heartbreaking when I hear stuff like that.
And you can't tell the news people. I told some of the news people, like, do they talk about this stuff, like this needs to be heard, like, to be helped, or like just anything about foster care? They always said they're gonna look at it and put it to the side, or we're just
Put it to the side.
and don't say nothing. But like this one lady from like Los Angeles, like LA, that's from the news. She wants to talk about it, but she's not. Fortunately, she said she used to be out here, and like in Sac, but like she lives out there. And then she said, "Did I reach to anyone out here?" I said, "Yeah," but they said put it to the side. They're gonna put it to the side and read over it. And then she was just like, "That's so sad."
Who did you talk to?
I don't remember her name. Like, I was just texting like all people like from Sacramento on Instagram that were news people. And then this one Pacific one that knows me because of another program like this. I forgot her name, but I forgot her name because I don't talk to none of them no more after what they said. Like, they're gonna put it aside to stop caring for them. I don't remember her name though.
Let's see if we can't find out who that was. Because we have access to some reporters, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Let's see if we can't figure out how we can amplify this, and keep talking. I think your voice is needed.
Yeah.
I would love for you to come and start coming to schools with us when we go and we have different kids to help out. I would love to see you kind of develop your voice in a way that would be powerful where they can't ignore you and they can't push you to the side. Because one thing they don't do, they don't push me to no side. I'll get on here and start talking so fast. But anyway, y'all, we done ran out of time. We're a little bit over, but that is okay. Thank you, Miss Jade, for coming through and gracing us with your presence. It looks like Sam has his hand up. Yes, sir.
So I got an application a few days ago. It actually came like almost a month ago, but I didn't see it until a few days ago. I got an application for the National Junior Honor Society. Let's go.
Intelligence.
Okay, come on, Sam. All right. That's what I like to hear.
I'm waiting for the acceptance letter.
Okay. And so what happens next?
I just wait for the acceptance letter and then I go to a ceremony in May.
Awesome. Anybody else got something to share before we log off? I was about to get out of here, but Sam had such great news. Melissa, you got a show coming up at the end of the month, yes?
Yeah, I have a poetry show on the 29th with the producer of the Pan-African Film Festival Spoken Word Fest. He's put on a different show, and I'm going to be the feature poet. So that's going to be fun. So I have a 15-minute set on April 29th.
Come on now, 15-minute set. That's what I'm talking about. Anaya, anything good? Tell me something good.
I decided where I want to go to college, but y'all will find out May 1st.
Yeah.
We got a show on that day? We do have a show on that day, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We talk. We can't spoil who we talking to. We can't spoil who we talking to, but we got somebody.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Jayda, anything good?
I'm no longer a senior in 2 weeks. So yeah, guys, I'll be a graduate. Whoa! And then walking the stage in May. Come to the black what's it called? A black grad.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
black.
Yeah,
That's
Black
in
grad.
June. That's
Wait,
in
what?
June.
That is in June. It's in
Is
June.
it June?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't matter. I'll
Yeah.
be walking the stage
You know.
in June then. Doesn't matter. I'll be walking the stage in June. That's all that matters.
And Black Grad is going to be hosted by BVBOE. So y'all make
Come on,
sure.
man. Come see it. Come see this. Come see the squad.
Melissa, you better be out here.
Come see the
'cause we will
squad.
box.
Jalen, anything good happen?
You know, the best thing I can say is light the beam. Because Sacramento is the greatest city on.
No, you aren't. No, you aren't. We cannot get back. Game 2 tonight. Come on, Golden State on top.
And we'll win that too. Like what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? The Warriors on top. Stop playing.
You might want to take that hat off after game 2. You might want to take that hat off.
Adrian.
No. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. We won.
This
You know,
dude,
game
like,
1. Ja got hurt, so series is ours.
Y'all gotta stop trying to make real quick before we get out of here, I do have to shout out to the James B. McClatchy Foundation. They did approve a 3-year grant for Black Youth Leadership Project to continue to do some of the things that we're doing. So for 3 years, we'll be raking in about over $300,000. So shout out to them. Yeah, and I think that's it, y'all. Y'all can let's get the wave popping. Sam,
start us off.
Come on, Manaya.
Yeah.
Melissa.
Mom, afternoon.
Okay. Jay. No, other way. Yeah, there we go.
I get to do it. Oh, hold on here. Yeah.
We'll see y'all next time.